morning, I'm Tracy with your weekly channeled oracle reading for June 14th. No, June 15th. Wait, it's coming. June 15th through 21st, 2015. So it's a very gray day, and that's very reflective of the mood. So before I go get Whitehawk, I will touch back on the previous week's reading, and then there's another thing I want to share with you, but it does correlate with last week's reading. So that's how my format works. So if you're new here, you come, I chat about last week's reading and the correlations, and then we go get my my spirit guide Whitehawk, who gives us lots of tips, healings, and insights to the upcoming week. So forgive me if my energy kind of does this. It's because yesterday we got some really bad news that my uncle, who is my mom's sister's husband, had a massive heart attack in the morning. And so, you know, that kind of just throws everybody off, right? I mean, it really puts you into a new location. And so the reason I'm sharing this is, one, because my energy level is going to fluctuate. I've been surrounded by death so much in the last 8 months. This is the fourth death in 8 months that has affected our family, my mom especially. And and usually it comes in threes, right? Like when we got to 3, we were like, oh, good, phew, we're done for a while. But then this was the biggest one, right? And so, what was I saying, guys? Funerals. Oh, relates to the June monthly reading, because in June, Whitehawk had said that we were going to be in new locations, and there's nothing like a death to force you into a new location, right? Especially for my aunt and my cousin. And then it just, there's the ripple effect, right, throughout the whole family. And so that's how that correlates. And then last week's reading, Whitehawk said that we would be uncovering things and realizations. And so I wanted to share this with you. My girlfriend and I had been down in a trendy area here in Ottawa having coffee and lovely dessert. And we were just chatting and catching up and stuff like that. And this African-American woman comes in, and I had seen her come in and didn't think much of it, but then when I looked up next, and I think it was, my girlfriend had excused herself for something, and I looked, and this woman kept looking at me, and she was looking at me, and she was twirling this red flower, and she was also like whispering things. So I thought, oh God, right away I went to there's a mental health issue there, probably, schizophrenic or something. So right away that can bring a fear up in people, right, of schizophrenics and stuff like that. And you don't want to look at them because you don't want to upset them. And so at first I thought, okay, she's just looking at me. She's whispering something, twirling her flower. That's okay. I go back to doing what I do, but I look again, and she's still staring at me, and it was very apparent she was staring at me, and so that makes anybody uneasy. And so I kind of touched in with Whitehawk at the time, and I said, am I safe here? Because I will get a body symptom, something will come up in my body, let me know if I'm unsafe. But that didn't come up, but a lot of anxiety came up in me, and I think between myself and my girlfriend also, she was feeling anxiety. And so I said, okay, let's just get up and walk around the neighborhood for a bit. So we got up and we walked by her and laughed, and I thought, oh, that's good, not a big deal. But then as we walked up the block and I turned around to look to see if she was following us, indeed she was standing right in the doorway where we had just left, and she was staring at me again. And so again, you're still getting that really uneasy feeling. And so we popped into one of the stores and we were looking at things. And I said to my girlfriend, I said, if she's out there, I'm going to ask her if she has a message for me, because I really felt she did. I really felt she had a message for me, but it was weird and it was unusual to be not even, I wasn't approached. It's just that she was standing there twirling this red flower and like, to me, talking to spirit, right? So that can be a problem, right? You don't want to go around talking to spirit out on the street, right? There are boundaries and concrete boundaries you have to build regarding spirit. And so, because it's the difference between being sane and insane, right? So, I didn't want to be afraid of her, but a part of me was, because you've heard of all, these attacks that happen sometimes with schizophrenics and stuff like that. But there was also this real big part of me that was like, no, I shouldn't be afraid of her. I know it's spirit. I know she's dealing with spirit, and I know spirit, right? And so we went into the store, like I said, and I said, well, if she's there, I'm going to ask her if she has a message for me. And my friend's like, no, don't, because like she was frightened. So I thought better of it, and we went outside, and lo and behold, she was there. She wasn't looking at me though. She was standing by a bench, and that just freaked us both out even more. And then so we walked a little bit more. We walked towards my girlfriend's car, and she said, I'm going to drive you to your car because I don't want you walking back past her or anything, right? So she said, if she comes around this corner, Tracy, I'm going to freak, and like we're going to call the cops, right? Because it was getting very weird. And so we drove by her, and I see her going into another store, so obviously she wasn't following us anymore. But the big thing in the lead up into this is that she did have a message for me, and the message was pertaining to the loss of my uncle, because the flower she was twirling has a huge significance to my Aunt Diane and my uncle. It was my Aunt Diane's wallpaper on her iPad, and they had a plant of it. So right away I knew that was my thing, that was my coincidence, that was my message, that indeed she did have a message for me. And I should have trusted my intuition, but I allowed the fear to come over. But then I thought it was meant to play out the way it played out, because I don't know what her message could have been to me. It would have been just simple that there's a death coming, but who wants to be told there's a death coming if you don't know who it is? Because then I probably would have walked around thinking right away, of course, it was my mom. She's almost 76 years of age. And then I would have worried, or, maybe she would have said an uncle, and so I have two uncles, right? So I probably would have been like, which one, right? And so, because one is my mom's brother, and I would have been all worried about that too. So sometimes it's meant to go down the way it is. And I felt that this had more than one message for me. One, to trust my intuition that the girl was not, she was not violent. She wasn't going to hurt me. And two, that she did have a message for me, right? So, and then the message also that it was that my uncle would die, and so and it was sudden. It was a massive heart attack. So so I wanted to share that with you, because that is very unusual, and you should pay attention to the very unusual things. And I don't know, maybe you're a listener here, maybe you knew me, I don't know, but I'm sorry that I allowed my mind to get in the way instead of allowing my intuition to come through. But I wanted to share that with you, because you have to pay attention to those coincidences, and it is big and it is real, and that's the way the messages come through. They're small, but they're significant. So that is that, and that was what would be part of what pertained to last week's reading about realizations and uncovering answers and stuff like that. For me, I did realize that she did have a message for me. So I hope you understood what I just said there. Okay, so let's go get Whitehawk and see what he has to say for us for the upcoming week. And I did want to do this because I also very much like hearing what Whitehawk has to say for the upcoming week. Indeed, little ones, he says, welcome one and welcome all to you. We are in the throes of a very difficult time, are we not? We are transitioning. There are many of us who are transitioning and in new locations already. And so with transitioning and new locations, there can be grief, there can be challenges. But as I have taught you many times already, that sometimes we have to go through the energy. There is no other way but to go through the actual energy. And he says, Tracy shares with us a great story of how when death arrives at your doorstep, there is no choice but to go through the energy to get to the other side. And so he says, my condolences to you and your family, Tracy. He was a great man. And I say, thank you. But for the rest of us, he says, the week may seem a little cloudy, but the clouds will dissipate quickly when you realize that because of the cloud cover, you could not see that which is. And so with the uncovering of the clouds, you will now be able to see what it really is, what has been happening, and where you are going. And so with the uncovering and unfurling of this cloud, it brings brightness, it brings hope, it brings goodness. But for others of us, we are still a little behind on the journey, but no matter, we will catch up. So keep in mind all this as you journey through the next couple of weeks of June, that again will literally transform you and put you into a new place in your life, in the world. God bless, children. God bless. And he blows a kiss too. All right, so that is his reading for this upcoming week. Again, corresponding with the June monthly reading. That's what I wanted to apologize for. So if I'm on social media and I'm not there answering questions and stuff, I apologize. It's because life has been chaotic and stuff like that. But know that I still read your stuff and I'm very grateful for it. So thank you for your comments. But as I said, if I'm slow at returning them, it's because life has been complicated. All right, so listen to that June monthly reading if you haven't. It's all good, guys. Sometimes you just got to go through it to get to the other side, and on the other side is a great big smile and a rainbow and love and all that wonderful stuff. So big hugs to you all, right? There's the big hugs coming to you as you go through this challenging time, but all for a good thing. Short-term pain for long-term gain, as they say. We shall see you next week. God bless.